little tiny piece out of that puzzle. I don't know that that's,
Well,
you know, it's not for me to
okay,
say
well,
alone, but I'm just saying I don't know that that's, you know.
let me just comment on this. I think Wally Davis owns 2 lots, if I'm not mistaken, where the trailer is, and I think he owns a lot beyond that.
Where's that?
Dennis, is that correct?
He's the other side. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So, and if you just even that out from where Wally's second lot is, Puppy Parlor bought the next part, and we bought the next part, you know, I think we'd all be happy with it.
I think that's why I'm looking at the highest and best use, that we should be looking at it, you know, realistically. You know, everyone said, well, you know, we put a high-rise there or whatever, or some sort of a commercial building in there, but is it really feasible to do that in that area? Or would your use, putting it back on the tax rolls by putting a strip in there and still have property there? You know, you're asking for 100 feet or so of city supposedly surplus property, you know, that hasn't been occupied in 90 years, you know.
Right.
Well, may I note that even as back, you know, back as far as 97, we talked about if something were to be done in this, we are already cognizant, and I believe it was Cortland who put in the fact that there should be a security strip or some type of a buffer zone between whatever was on the highway part and whatever went on in the interior. And even if that part is low, I mean, people push soils around and they can make holding areas and they can do all kinds of things. So, I mean, that would have to be dealt with the, you know, whatever would apply for something like that. And there are soil borings and everything, so we knew what, you know, how they were going to stand. That being said, are you saying that an area should be just cripped off at the end there, or what, make this initial C3 zone wider, or what?
If we want to make that just a portion of that 100, take 100 feet by whether 400 feet long, and declare that surplus so that the neighbors can get themselves purchase a strip of land in there for their protection, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Well, I guess what I'm concerned with is if you did that as planners, okay, and you have this, you got a C3 zone, okay, and I think we have, what is this, a multiple residential?
Well,
right now it's
we're not sure. Right now it's, I believe in 2000 it was zoned C3.
Yeah, but
and then it was with the hubby. That's when we believe it went to R2, but it doesn't look like it did.
Okay.
So it still seems to be all.
So everything's
C3.
So it'd be consistent at least with their zoning of their property.
So in other words, even if we lopped off another section, it's still staying the same consistent zoning.
Yeah, same zoning.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm not talking about
whatever your
zoning.
Okay, whatever your preference.
It would just open up to say.
I guess the only thing that would be,
no one's going to buy this portion here because it's.
Well, I know
it's dropped about 10 feet there.
I understand.
And that's what the question is that then by, I mean, I personally think that the way to do it is yes, you know, that we would just take a strip off the end and then the property owners abutting it kind of option.
So it's consistent with what they already own.
Yeah. The only downfall of that is then are we potentially making some sort of non-conforming lot down here that is just going to be there and there's nothing separate going? I mean, not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but I mean, are there lots?
It's still city property.
It's still city property.
No one's going to buy that.
Yeah.
Because it goes down into a deep ravine there.
Yeah, and I guess the question is that from an ordinance standpoint, do we have any restrictions on creating a non-conform? I don't know what our lot requirements are for C3.
Yeah, it's going to be, I guess, 100 feet now. We used to have like 150, and we lowered that.
Okay, so it would still be a conforming lot.
Yeah, so you need 100 foot of frontage. So none of these lots are, well, theirs would
No,
be
theirs
128.
They have 100, yeah.
Like the
that one there is
the puppy place wouldn't be conforming now.
It would be more conforming if it had an additional.
Right.
Yeah.
But it still wouldn't meet the width requirement. But
yeah, and I guess what my question is that like this section, this would be considered, even though it's basically unusable, I just want to make sure there's no legal issues with us creating a non-conforming lot. But it sounds like it would be considered conforming because it would have more than 100 feet of frontage.
yeah, we'd have frontage this way.
Okay.
But then now there are lots in here, like this is the Saris one here, then there's that White House here that
Yeah.
does have a lot, and then there's a city lot that I think it's maybe 50 feet wide.
There's two
Then there's
houses.
another house
There's
right
two
here.
houses, yeah.
And then from there to the
Corner
curb is
is
all open,
vacant.
and it's city property.
Mhm.
So we would,
Well, so we already
Kinda have
know
a-
kind of, there's already a
you know.
cookie cutter sort of.
yeah, so if we sold it, I don't know how I would put it out for sale. Would we just put it by acre, a price per acre, and then if people wanted it, like the Saris could say, well, they want this piece and it's so many acres, and then if this fellow wanted to
Yeah.
purchase behind his, he could, or the Saris could purchase all the way over here if
Yeah.
they wanted.
I mean, that's the question, I mean, I guess that's the hard
You
thing.
know,
is
or do you divvy it up into small, that
Well, then
this
we're-
would be a piece for sale, this would be a piece for sale, this was for sale.
Then we are creating non-conforming lots, though, because none of these lots have
They
frontage.
don't have the frontage, right?
So the only people that would have, I mean, yeah, that's what's kind of difficult about this, like, this situation's easier, because if they buy it, then it'll be adjoined with their existing lot. Now, all of a sudden, and that's also another kind of hard technicality, because technically we have to put everything out for bid. Probably they're gonna be the only folks that bid on it, but in the meantime, by creating that lot, we're creating a non-conforming lot. So, and those are kind of the hard questions of, you know, how do you go about this to make it a legitimate process, and still, you know, allow them to get the piece that they want to retain, so
Yeah,
it.
address their concerns.
Yeah,
I
it's
see
a
that.
it is kind of a sticky situation, and yeah, I mean, like what Leroy's saying, it's one of those situations where you do want some sort of advisement by either legal counsel or from, you know, the community development director that's soon to.
Come in.
soon
You
to
have
be
a
there.
thought?
No, I agree with Tom.
Do you?
We,
Okay.
we were, yeah. It's best to know what's legal first. So, you know, to get an opinion from the city attorney and
Mhm.
rub it on them and see what happens, because
Did we make a formal request in writing to him? Or
No,
Or
no,
should
I
we?
don't think
Yeah,
we
maybe.
did we?
I didn't.
no, I think it was
Okay.
just Scott talking about
Maybe,
it.
yeah.
Do we have to make a formal, would that be the proper way to do it?
I would
Would be
think
to
so.
ask for an opinion from our city attorney? Do we formalize that?
Well, if it's in the minutes, I mean, I could present that to the city manager and.
So in
he
other
could
words, if we made a motion at this meeting to request that from one of our, that would be formal enough that we could get that opinion to act on.
And as secretary, I could just indicate the motion was made at this meeting, so-and-so to review this, give that to the city manager, and then he takes it to the city attorney.
So I guess the question would be is what is our motion gonna include, and would it be what would be the process to create additional lots or a lot, or, you know, what is the proper way to?
Because if you put this piece up for sale, and John Smith comes
Well, I
and puts a
think-
bid on it,
Yeah, so
he's
they're-
I
buying a
think-
non-conforming
lot, yeah.
I think you would, if you're gonna lot this, okay, this is consistent with the front lot that the
Right.
Saris own.
Yes.
Okay? And I understand why they're requesting what they're
Yes.
requesting. But if you're going to go to the side, regardless of what the old platted lot means, I think what we have to do is go according to ordinance and just design the two new lots next to it that would be available. If that old property, which is now going to be taken down, is part of that, well then, that becomes,
Because he'll still own this,
that's correct.
he's not gonna be
But
interested in buying the property.
But to
behind
do
it.
anything, he's going